Now that you've found UBN Radio and discovered our quality talk shows, it's time to spread the word to friends, family, and the universe. 24 hours of music and talk. Radio without limits. That's why people keep coming back for more. That's ubnradio.com.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to all of our friends and listeners from around this great country of ours and from around the world. This is another edition of Focus with Ron Frierson. I am your host, Ron Frierson. My brother and sidekick, Mr. Woody Wilson, he's caught up in traffic right now. So, Woody, I know you're traveling here fast, but travel safely as well. It's a lot going on out there, guys, and I wanted to, there's so much to speak about. So one of the main issues with many shows is content. Wondering, what we're going to speak about today. Is there enough going on? But the world that we live in is so crazy right now, and it's so much to choose from. So we have more of an issue of what to put on, because it's just an assortment of things that we can hit, both domestically and internationally. Now, this year's presidential race, every time we have a presidential campaign every 4 years, we always say it's commonly said that this is the most pivotal race in our lifetime. This race, this season, this political season is going to dictate, future generations, and this is the most important election of our lives. I really do think that in this case, it's actually true. It's actually true. There's so much going on around the world, and it's for various reasons that it all sits in our laps. Technology has made the world smaller, so we can see everything that's going on around the globe, and we're affected by it to the point where before the internet got to this mature stage, you will have to wait some time before you got some information about what happened in another part of the world. You have to wait to see it on the 6 o'clock news in the evening or the early morning news, or even before then, you would have to wait until the next edition of a newspaper came out. And so because of that, we had time to live our regular lives before something happened that affected us, and before we knew about it. And then at the same time, it didn't seem like it was all piling on us at once. But now it seems, because of 24-hour news, thank you, Ted Turner, and for creating CNN, thank you, and I mean that sarcastically in a certain way. But because of that, now we get everything at us. So 24-hour news, and then the internet, which connected everyone, and we can get information almost instantaneously. Now we are bombarded with stuff that's going on here, stuff that's going on in Latin America, stuff that's going on in Africa, stuff that's going on in the Middle East, Europe, the Far East. Everywhere that there's anything going on, every piece of drama going on in the planet, we can have that at our fingertips at any given time. That can make people very worrisome, and it could be somewhat disconcerting. It's almost an oppressive type of feeling, because obviously if it bleeds, it leads. So that means if there's anything bad going on, they're going to cover it on the news. And so it's just so much, and it's always bombarding you. It's always coming. It's always coming at you. And so that really makes for us having turbulent times. And because of that, we have to think about things. That means that if we hear everything at once, that means that we're no different from anyone else on the planet. That means those people in those other countries have the same sort of access, for the most part, if you're in a developed nation, where they hear everything at once too. So because they hear everything at once, that means anything that's said by our leaders, they hear somewhat instantaneously. It doesn't go through a lot of filters. It doesn't have the opportunity for interpretation, or he really meant this, or he really meant that, or she really meant this, or she really meant that. It's already out there. And in most places in the world, when you say something, people believe you. Okay? When you hear the leader of another nation say something, they are expected to be believed or disbelieved that first instance. So I say that to kind of go a long way around getting to this point. Whoever we choose as our next president, the words that they say matter. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't have a clear bias, but my bias is not because one is a Republican or one is a Democrat, or because I love one and hate the other. That's another thing we have to get away from. What we tend to do is that we tend to canonize one and demonize the other. Hillary Clinton is no angel. She's not my perfect candidate. She's not. Truth be told, I would, maybe most of us would like to see another third term of Obama before we'd like to see a Clinton presidency. But when I compare her to the alternative, then it's a no-brainer. It's hands down. And we can't let, for lack of a better term, this very imperfect candidate allow or our tendency to dislike this imperfect candidate, meaning Hillary Clinton, blind us and force our hands into choosing someone who could perhaps be dangerous. And I do mean dangerous. Like I said, what a president says matters. He's the leader of the free world. He or she is the leader of the free world. And I've said this on the show before. When President Obama speaks, you can tell that he speaks deliberately. He kind of pauses as he speaks, and it's kind of funny. And I know you've heard the Saturday Night Live skits when he tries to speak, and he pauses. Yeah, and we're going to do this. But you can tell his mind is working because he knows that the words that he says matter. They matter. With a President Trump, just think about it. Even if you like some of his policies, let's say you like his trade policies. Let's say you like his national defense posture. Let's say for whatever reason you think that, like he said today, he thinks that suspected terrorists, even American citizens, should be sent to Guantanamo Bay. Let's just say that you agree with some different aspects of his policies. You also have to take into account that the stuff that's going on with him, his negatives, are largely self-inflicted. Largely self-inflicted. It's not so much, the media's going to pounce on whoever they can pounce on. They'll pounce on Hillary Clinton. I'll pounce on Hillary Clinton. That's not the key. The key is the things that are self-inflicted, that are so elementary. Just watch what you say. Understand the power that comes along with the office that you want to hold, and you cannot have these slip-ups, or you cannot be as irresponsible with your words as you have been to this point. If he had any sort of self-discipline in regards to the words that comes out of his mouth because of all the things and all the controversies that go on with Hillary Clinton, then this will be a tighter race, or he may even actually be winning the race. But because he cannot control himself, or because he has to send so many surrogates out there to try to interpret, so he really didn't mean that, now he's put himself in a position wherein I hope he loses. And remember this, we need a strong Republican Party. We need that. We don't want to be beholden to just one political party as an adequate choice in this election season. We can't do that. If we don't have a strong Republican Party, that means eventually we will have bad actors in the Democratic Party. We need one to keep the other in check. That's just the way it works. So whatever the Republican Party needs to do to purge this from its ranks and even purge that element of those who vote for Republican for the wrong reasons. If you're voting for Republicans because you're socially conservative in regards to pro-family and this thing, that's perfectly fine. If you vote Republican because you feel a certain way about national defense, or if you feel a certain way about taxation and business, it's perfectly fine. But if you voting Republican because of flag burning, because of a perceived sort of they will accept me better as quote unquote racist, because because you're Republican, you're not racist. But if you're racist, you'll probably be Republican. So not every Republican is a racist. Not by any means is that the case. But just about every racist, if you were to choose a political party prior to the Civil Rights Bill, since the Civil Rights Bill, I should say, is a Republican. So, and please understand what I was just saying, because some of the people that I love dearest are Republicans, and they're Republicans for the right reason. They're Republicans because of the discipline in regards to fiscal conservatism, and they're Republican because of the way they feel about national defense and small government and things like that. And that's perfectly fine. It has nothing to do with any sort of social issues in regards to race. As a matter of fact, many of these people are socially liberal. But I mean, that element that Trump has tapped into, the new electorate that he claims that he can pull out of the woodworks, that's dangerous, and that bothers me. So earlier this week, a couple of days ago, Donald Trump was mentioning something in regards to the Second Amendment and Hillary Clinton. He was saying that if Hillary Clinton were to win, she would appoint different judges or justices to the Supreme Court. And if that were to happen, then we would have to, maybe the Second Amendment advocates will have something to say about that, which was interpreted a certain way. I want to actually play that video. And Jarvis, will you play that video for me? And then I want to hear from you, and we're going to discuss on the other end of this what I want to play the video where the Second Amendment, when Hillary was talking about Trump, and with Trump talking about Hillary and saying that the Second Amendment. You got the video queued up? Okay, play that for me really quick, and then afterwards we're going to have a discussion about it. And we see that Woody Wilson just walked in. He's in the studio. Come over here and mic up, Woody, while we're doing this.
So, I just wrote this down today. Hillary wants to raise taxes. It's a comparison. I want to lower them. Hillary wants to expand regulations, which she does bigly. Can you believe that? I will reduce them very, very substantially. Could be as much as 70, 75%. Hillary wants to shut down energy production. I want to expand it. Lower electric bills, folks. Hillary wants to essentially abolish the Second Amendment. By the way, and if she gets to pick her judges, nothing you can do, folks. Although the Second Amendment people, maybe there is, I don't know. But I'll tell you what, that will be a horrible day. If Hillary gets to put her judges, right now we're tied. You see what's going on. We're tied because Scalia, this was not supposed to happen. Justice Scalia was going to be around for 10 more years at least, and this is what happens. That was a horrible thing. So now look at it. So Hillary essentially wants to abolish the Second Amendment. Now, speaking to the...
Okay, so you guys saw it for yourselves. And I think he, in a way, he tried to fix it up. What he said, that would be a terrible thing. But most people probably would say that's a very coarse and inarticulate and unartful way to say that Second Amendment advocates should be on his side. But at the same time, it does go to boost my point about him being irresponsible with his words, because if there are any loose cannons out there that he already, and remember, this is not in a vacuum. This is coming from a man who said so many things in the past. He's encouraged people in his rallies to hit protesters. He said that he would pay for their legal expenses. And it's just the things that he does is so, outside of the norm that it could be dangerous, especially in this climate. And we see everything that's going on in this country, and it's scary. It's actually scary. So I'm not sure. And one of my very closest friends, mentioned the fact that Donald Trump beat 17 other Republican candidates during this primary season. And that's very true because of a few things. For one, the Republican electorate, for the most part, if you have 17 people to choose from and split loyalties, then and you hear someone like Trump, who is charismatic, and I do believe he's tapped into something that is
dangerous.
Well, I mean, in regards to the legitimate points of his, he does have legitimate points in regards to trade policies, because there's a lot of people who aren't too.
I told you there's a couple of policies that I agree with.
Yeah, exactly. So those things you latch onto, but it seems like is the juice worth the squeeze? He's gotten to a point where he's gotten worse.
Yeah. No,
so given everything, if he came out with the things that he's said since he's locked up the nomination, if he said any of these things during the primaries to this extent, he would go off from time to time, but not to the point of where he is now.
I think it's evolving. I think it's evolving. I think the dangerous aspect of Donald Trump is that he cannot shut up. He cannot stop saying the wrong thing.
Yeah.
He's speaking his mind. He doesn't think through the process. He's a dangerous person. And if he gets power, imagine what he'll say then, because he'll feel like there's no one that can filter him, or there's not going to be a direct result. So, I mean, he's doing his best to behave, and he's still misbehaving.
Yeah,
so
I think this is his
when he's
nature.
Unleashed.
Exactly. And that's what we were saying before you came in, Woody, and welcome.
Yeah,
I
was listening.
I understand the traffic is
Man,
terrible.
Santa Monica Boulevard, they need to just put a monorail right down the middle of that thing.
I know.
Crazy.
Well, I was spending lunch today with some very, very kind people, and we brought up, a third-party candidate because some people are really, disinterested in this election because they don't think they really have a viable choice, because they don't like Hillary, they don't like Donald. But what I was saying during this process, and I truly mean this, I mean, back in 1912, I think it was Teddy Roosevelt, and he formed the Progressive Party, the Bull Moose Party, after he was denied the Republican nomination for president. I think it was 1912. Well, anyway, he lost, and we're talking about Teddy Roosevelt, Theodore Roosevelt, who's actually on Mount Rushmore. So he was one of our first conservative, in the truest sense of the word conservative, meaning conserving national parks. He was a great president. He's on Mount Rushmore.
Right.
But he lost after he went to the Bull Moose Party, I believe, because so that means that the odds of a third-party candidate winning
at this point.
Yeah, I mean, at almost any point in history, I don't think that could happen at the presidential level without it first happening from the grassroots up. So even if someone as popular as Teddy Roosevelt, if he could lose, then of course Donald Trump could lose. But I think that if we were to start having independents in the state houses at the local level, and then having independents in the Senate and in the House of Representatives, and just build up a groundswell of independence, so that they would have, so if a president were nominated from one of these independent parties, he will automatically have a team. He will have a network of other independents. Because right now, even if, let's just say in a hypothetical scenario, you had an independent party president, that president will essentially, for the majority of his or her years, be ineffective, because they wouldn't have any allies built in on either side. They wouldn't be able to get things done, because think about it, if the Democrats want to hold power and this and the other, then why would they want to follow an independent? Because that's just going to...
Which is why the Democrats and Republicans are only two parties.
And the Republicans the same way.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be any motivation for them to try to boost the fact that a Republican, someone from not from their team is president and working with this president. Of course, you would have some,
Yeah, I don't think it'd be
anecdotal-
much different than it is today. You're not getting anything done. Obama's hands are forced in many situations. I think
with the
if
supermajority, you can get something. I mean,
if
he
you're
got health care,
supermajority,
yeah.
right,
But
right.
if you are independent, you don't have a supermajority. You don't have, unless you went to a straight Democratic side, but then you're going to be labeled on that side. It's just, I think the only way to have a true viable third party is to have a viable third party at every level of government, local, state, and then federal, and then maybe the presidency. I don't think we can skip straight to the presidency to have an independent president or independent candidate out of one of the, run for president and expect for them to win. I just don't think it's possible.
Well, it takes money, power, and influence in order to get the independent party up to where it needs to be to be in the game.
Yeah, so now we saw Donald Trump's remarks about the Second Amendment, and we saw his remarks about whether and then how Hillary's people took it. So what happened on CNN was pretty exciting. Don Lemon got into a bit of an argument with a Trump supporter who's actually a former Secret Service agent. And I want to play that so that people can see, because I heard it the same way that most people heard it. I just heard it. I don't think Donald Trump said go kill Hillary Clinton. That's not what we're saying. I don't think
we
that
know
at
the
all.
underlying message.
Yeah, but we
was-
know that he's known for saying stupid stuff, and you got to remember there's crazy people out there, and these are dog whistles. And so if he says something crazy like that,
It's very
that's a
dangerous.
nominee.
It's very dangerous.
Yeah.
You should
So
not.
do you have that tape, Jarvis? Go ahead and run that video for us.
And you want him to
No
be the
doubt, as you've been saying over and over, Don, what Trump was saying here, and it clearly related to violence against Hillary.
Dan, you're disagreeing with Jeffrey?
I mean, Don, I'm trying not to break down in laughter. This conversation's almost broken into the comical realm. It's clear what he was suggesting. I mean, he clearly, from what I had to read through his exact comments in the Washington Post today twice when I was asked to be on the show to try to find out what exactly the controversy was even about.
Okay, let's play it
You know,
again.
for 12
Stand by,
years of
Dan.
my-
Let's play it just in case you're
Sure.
confused. Let's play it again.
No, I'm not confused, Don.
Okay, let's play it.
Hillary wants to essentially abolish the Second Amendment. By the way, and if she gets to pick her judges, nothing you can do, folks. Although the Second Amendment people, maybe there is, I don't know. But
Okay, explain to us, people who don't understand and that you want to laugh at what he meant by that.
Don, the man, I think we all know, is running for president of the United States. He probably has some data that a lot of one-issue voters vote on the Second Amendment issue. It's clear he's trying to motivate people to go out and vote based on the potential for an open Supreme Court seat. How that's clear to you, that was some kind of call to an open revolution and to start firing your weapons at public officials is utter absurdity.
No one said that, Dan.
Really, I
No one
almost
said
wanna
that.
laugh.
No one said that.
Don,
And so, no one
you
said
know
that. If he wanted people to go out and vote, why not just say, go out and vote, the Supreme Court depends on it.
Listen,
the Second Amendment depends on it.
Don.
Why say something like that if that's not what he meant? As someone who's running for leader of the
Don,
free world, shouldn't he be as clear in his words as possible? Go ahead.
Okay.
yes, he should be as clear as possible.
Yeah, and that actually got super heated during the course of it, but it's just a little bit too long. I don't want to take our voice off of this air for so long, but they actually got really, really heated in that exchange. And basically, Don Lemon accused this guy of lying to the American people. He said, "You are sitting here treating us like as if we're dumb and we're stupid, like we can't hear for ourselves. We heard what Donald Trump said."
Well, everyone in
Quit
defense of Donald Trump has to play down the insanity. And let's not forget that he said Obama created ISIS.
We're going to get to
you
that.
know, that- I mean,
I have
his-
video. Yeah, so
This guy's just off his rocker.
Yeah, he is off his
And,
rocker,
and
we're
people
gonna,
want him to lead the free world?
Yeah,
really?
That must be a
Really? Is Hillary
well-paying
that bad?
job. It must be a very well-paying job to defend Donald Trump after the stuff he says. Because
I tell you,
I'm telling you, I saw Rudy Giuliani actually speak on it as well, and Rudy's not my favorite.
Rudy's an idiot. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I watch Fox quite often. As soon as I watch it probably more than I do CNN these days, just to see the twist and the angle on things, and it is unbelievable. It's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
It's inciting folks to, just like Donald Trump's statement, to do the wrong thing and take action, and they know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Well, the thing is that Rudy, I don't see much of Chris Christie anymore. There's
that's true.
Yeah, there's quite a few people that are really trying to carry the water for Donald Trump, and I don't know whether or not they don't have influence over his what he says.
No, they don't. No one does.
Because I mean,
He's a loose cannon.
It has to be the most frustrating job in the world, and it also has to be frustrating for the RNC. And I understand that maybe up to 70 Republican, really
Staunch.
promised. I mean, not
Yeah.
promised, but what's the word I'm looking for? Prominent
prominent
Republicans that deal with the foreign affairs. They have come out against Trump and for Hillary.
They're trying to start a movement.
To all of my friends, I mean, that still are for Trump, I wonder whether or not it concerns you that so many prominent Republicans of notable stature, people that are in foreign affairs and that deal with government relations, national security, and stuff like that, how they are all jumping to Hillary's side and away from Trump, and they are saying he's dangerous.
I can't. I'm wondering what happened to the issues, debates about the issues.
Mm-hmm.
We're so busy. The media is so busy covering Donald Trump's spoofs and the outrageous things that he says.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about the issues that affect America.
Mm-hmm.
So America is losing in the long run because we're not having effective communication. And we're not talking about the issues that need to be resolved and move this country forward. Right now, we're stagnant. And, I bet you can bet your bottom dollar if he is elected, if you folks don't get out and vote for the right candidate and he gets into office, do you think we'll be talking about these types of issues? Of course we will. We will not be moving the country forward as it needs to be because he has no plan. He has not come out and talked about his plan. He just continues to throw Hillary under the bus and Obama under the bus. Let's get to the real issues. This is a presidential campaign. This is the leader of the free world. This is nonsense. It's a circus.
Yeah,
and,
it is.
And I'm tired of it. I just want to get to the election today, get it over with. Everyone get out there and vote.
Well, part of this, I believe
behind
the
us.
media likes part of this because they like
they love
seeing the carnival,
Great
and
ratings.
it brings ratings. But along that note as well is the seriousness of this decision, the seriousness and the gravity that comes behind this.
Voting?
Yeah, voting is huge, and I know that many people believe that you're in California, so it really doesn't matter. It all matters.
It doesn't.
It's
matter.
just a civil responsibility. So whether or not you believe that because you were in California that your vote won't really matter, that's irrelevant.
If you don't vote, you can't complain ever.
Yeah. So, but you brought up the allegation that Trump said that Obama and Hillary founded ISIS. You know what?
How outrageous is that?
That's
now
crazy.
He's saying that he was just it was sarcasm.
He's saying it's sarcasm. But let's think about this. Now, ISIS began, first off, everything in regards to this began with the invasion of Iraq.
Saddam Hussein. Ousting Saddam Hussein.
President
Biggest
Obama
mistake we
was
could
a
have made.
state senator at this time.
And had nothing to do with
Had
that.
nothing to do with it. Hillary Clinton, she was a senator or leaving her term as a senator of New York, had nothing to do with she did vote to go into Iraq. So that's where she was.
Yeah, well, I think the whole country did based on the misinformation that was provided, weapons of mass destruction. So
but President Obama had nothing to do with that. Secondly, upon the downfall of Saddam Hussein, and then Al-Qaeda came in. Remember an organization called Al-Qaeda in Iraq that was led by, I want to say, Zarqawi.
Yeah.
Okay. Zarqawi. Anwar Zarqawi. And he was so brutal that even Osama bin Laden was sending him correspondence saying that, listen, we want to win the hearts and minds of our people, And with these brutal tactics that you're bombing Muslims as well as the Westerners as well as quote unquote the infidel, you're going to turn our people against us. And he just ignored Osama bin Laden. Zarqawi is the founder of ISIS.
Right.
The
founder of terror.
Al Qaeda in Iraq is the forefather of ISIS.
Right. That's
now,
correct.
President Obama wasn't president back then.
He wasn't.
That was 2004, 2005, maybe.
It was George Bush, Colin Powell.
George W. Bush was there.
Yeah. And I think
So
people need people forget that it all started because Bush invaded and disrupted the Middle East, and all of this madness was birthed from that.
Yeah. The one part that they think that President Obama was they think that he added fuel to the flame, which may or may not be the case, was when he decided to pull out of Iraq.
Yeah.
And when they decided to pull out of Iraq and pull all of our forces out of Iraq, that left a vacuum there, and that allowed ISIS to then spread, and him calling them the JV team.
Yeah.
And I will give you that.
Right.
Okay, I'll give you that maybe that wasn't handled. Not maybe that wasn't handled the best way. Maybe we should have kept more troops there.
No, we
but
should have
that's
never been in
a
the
far
first place.
cry from saying someone founded the organization. It's such a far cry, and it's misinformation. But Trump, when they speak in this echo chamber between Trump and Fox News, the Drudge Report, and these far right, conspiracy types of communities, and they keep reinforcing this same nonsense and revisionist history, then you're going to get stuff like that where you're going to, after a while, he thinks that if he says it enough, it's going to catch on. And then one day you're going to speak to somebody and have a political conversation. You're going to be on two different sides of the issue, and they are really going to believe that President Obama founded ISIS,
Folks,
and they
listen,
ignore facts.
People, if you don't understand the short history of this country in the last 8 years, let's say 12 years, with George W. Bush, with the economic conditions, what our current president has been able to do in terms of moving the country forward. You may not agree with every decision that he's made. That's fine, and that's what politics and that's what democracy is all about. But you do have to realize that he saved the automobile industry. He got Osama bin Laden. Unemployment is at 4.9%. Unfortunately, wages are not where they need to be because after the worldwide financial crisis, which was greatly a product of Bush contributed to it, but he was not the sole one to blame. There's jobs that were lost and that are not coming back because of corporations found a way to downsize and just eliminate a lot of jobs. So that is not President Obama has been able to turn that all around and bring us to where we are today, which is heads and tails far above where we were. If you guys don't remember, just 8 short years ago, there was a worldwide crisis. So. Now, hopefully, if Hillary can get in office and continue some of the positive policies, I think the country's headed for surplus.
Yeah, and you know what? And with me, I always try to look at things with a little more of a calculated, somewhat not a rosy picture, but I try to look at something more objectively. So this is the key. When you look at it objectively, truly objectively, and you take both sides of the issue, then yes, everything that Woody just said about the Obama presidency is true. Now, but that's not. There's certain things that haven't been really tackled, which happens, and there's far more good than there is bad. I mean, obviously, terrorism is on a rise.
One hand's tied behind his back.
Drones and stuff like that.
Zika's on a rise.
Yeah. Well, the drones. It's any president, but you have to look at it. Like I said, there are no angels and there are no devils. President Obama is a great president. In my opinion, he's a great president and one of the
greatest
best in our recent history, in my opinion. Now, does that mean that he hasn't made any missteps? Absolutely not. But that's not where we're not. The argument here isn't perfection. The argument is effectiveness, and he's been effective in enough ways for him to be a profound president. And there's some people that don't like some. I don't like some of his policies in certain respects too. I don't like the fact of the droning. I don't like the fact that he's deported.
You don't like the droning?
No, I don't like the droning, because I think it actually is going to create more enemies for us in the long term.
Would you rather have soldiers on the ground?
At least with soldiers, I don't like soldiers on the ground, but I understand why he wanted that. But if you can go ahead and kill somebody like a video game, after you're creating more and more, because you can't. avoid the collateral damage. You can't, and it's easier to keep that type of war going up, and then we'll wonder why there's no end to terrorism. So if we went in, at least we would, as Americans, be vested in it and see that we have to put blood and treasure in here, and that'll make us think twice before going. But at the same time, I don't want to see our soldiers go away.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's a
catch-22,
but I don't really like it. But these are the difficult decisions that a president has to make.
Right.
These are difficult, and I understand that, but
and
I just don't like it.
We're at war, so
now,
whatever you got to do. But go ahead.
But no, along with that is that Hillary may not be a good president. She may not be. And she may not carry forth with Obama's policies the way that we would like. Okay, so let's just say there's worst case scenario that she's a bad president. And she's a bad president because of her and because of the entrenched enemies that she has. Trust me, they're going to have a spotlight on her, and she won't be able to move without some sort of criticism from the right. She's going to have to work
like
hard.
Obama.
Now, yeah, well, like Obama.
Just like President Obama.
I think she's actually going to get it worse than
do you? I
Obama
don't
in
think so.
in certain respects. She will, and let me explain.
I'm sure because she's a woman.
Well,
and she's a Clinton.
More because she's
so
this is more because she's a Clinton. See, this is
those are added targets.
Remember this, and this is the truth, and it's not because of any sort of gender or racial thing. It's because when President Obama got into office, his popularity and his approval numbers were so high, and when he leaves office, his popularity and approval numbers are so high, that there are some things, they're very high now, but there are some things that he can accomplish because of that. Hillary Clinton will go into office with the worst approval numbers of any president going into office. So because of that, there's already an entrenched negativity that's even higher than what Obama had, because Obama still had well-wishes. That's how he was able to get the Affordable Care Act passed. But with Hillary, it may not be that way.
Well,
so,
I don't know. Affordable Care Act
let me finish my thought.
Yeah, go ahead.
The thought was this, is that at worst, she will be a bad president, but she would be a president that will also have eyes on her. The thing about Donald Trump is that at worst, this can be a civilization ruining administration. So we have, like I said,
civilization as we know it today.
Exactly. So we have a choice. We have a choice that I look at worst case scenarios, measure the risk mitigation. At worst, Hillary is a bad president and she's a one-termer. At worst, Donald Trump's side, on Donald's side, it can be amazingly destructive to all of us.
And
you choose the bottom.
But listen, I don't think today, right now, speaking to the world out there that we're talking to now, I think folks have made up their mind. There's nothing we can do to change Trump supporters' minds. I mean, if they are that entrenched in backing this guy up until this point today, as we speak, if you're still a Trump supporter, like he said, he could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and you would still be a Trump supporter. And those words came from his mouth. So I don't think there's anything we do. Now, if Hillary Clinton, now you look at the history, look at Hillary Clinton's, she dedicated 40 years of her life to helping people. She made a couple of mistakes. I think Benghazi was a mistake. There's a little gray area there. And then sending, the emails with her private servers, mistake. Nothing nefarious was going on there. No. You're not allowed to make mistakes. You're going to get a stamp of dishonesty if you make mistakes. And she should have.
That boosts my argument right there, because these things that she did, they weren't if they were criminal, they would have got her.
Right. They would have got her.
And even this thing
FBI
with the
investigation.
Yeah, well, the thing with the Clinton Foundation. Now, at the end of the day, what does the Clinton Foundation do? They help bring AIDS medicines to countries and help them buy
and
it.
Medicine.
Yeah, and so at the end of the day, it does well. Now, people get mad at them for enriching themselves in the process, or they're saying that they offer influence to some of these governments. So they say rich people, they will donate to the Clinton Foundation knowing that, they may have an end
That's how the world works, folks. You got it. One hand washes the other. I just got back from a business trip, and that's how it works. In order for me to get to the guy I need to get to along the way, I've got to grease somebody's hand.
Everyone knows
that's how you do
the
business.
People that are criticizing for her, and if she's having the State Department as a pay for play thing, that's a whole different thing. But this thing, let's just say the latest email controversy, which it's only a controversy because it's Hillary. It was one of the people that worked, the executives that worked for her foundation, helped or was asked to help a high dollar donor have an introduction to the U.S. ambassador in Lebanon for a job. So was it a direct quid pro quo? No, but don't think that for a second this doesn't happen in everyday life everywhere, where if you know somebody that knows somebody to help with a job or recommendation, these things happen. Now, if it was if it was to pay Hillary to go ahead and bomb another country or to push an agenda that's going to cut out another country and use the State Department like for hire, then I would be on your side for those Hillary critics and say this is wrong. She needs to go to jail. But that's not what it is. That's not nearly what it is.
Hey, folks, with success comes power and influence. Okay, and if you're running for the leader of the free world, that is the ultimate power and success, level of success. Mm-hmm. And so there are going to be pieces on the chessboard that move accordingly. Mm-hmm. And that's just the way it is. It's nothing underhanded. It's just the way you do business. And if the bottom line is, if her foundation is helping out folks who are in need, they donated 10% of their salary to their foundation, both Hillary and Bill Clinton. Their salaries were released today, by the way. Did you hear how much the money they made?
The
Hillary,
$10 million. She made $10 million.
Yeah,
and they paid a very high tax bracket, 43-point-something%.
30, yeah, third. Yeah, third. Yeah, so about 40% of their income
in total tax.
Yeah, totality is gone. So, you got to look at the big picture, folks.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing going on there. She's not crooked Hillary. Mm-hmm. She made a couple of mistakes. A lot of presidents have. I mean, if you go back and look at every president since the beginning of time, you can outline the mistakes. It's part of history. But hindsight is 20/20.
Okay, listen, before we go any further, I need to mention one of our new sponsors. And I noticed on our banner that we don't have Javago watches. Javago watches should always be on the screen because we're always going to have Javago watches as well. So we have two sponsors now. We have Javago watches. Yes, there we go. Javago watches.
Very fine.
Very fine timepiece. Elegant styling, men's and women's styles and fashions. Go to www.javagowatches.com.
Tell them how they can get a discount.
Amazon. If you go to Amazon and get the same watch, same style, you can get it at a discount on Amazon. So Javago Watches, www.javagowatches.com. You got to check them out. It makes a great gift and fantastic.
Yeah.
And we also have a new sponsor. We have NanoBright. Now, what I've noticed, if you guys look at me, people that know me, I may be ugly, but I'm ugly but I have nice skin. I'm ugly with
You're that cute
skin.
Ugly.
Yeah, I'm that cute ugly, that other kind of ugly. Well, one of the reasons for that is NanoBright. I've started using this product myself, and it's fantastic. It helps. It's basically vitamins for your skin. It's like a lotion, a cream you put on your face, and it's
skin been glowing lately.
Exactly. It's like vitamins for your skin. It's all natural. There's vitamin C in it, vitamin B3. It's organic ingredients. It's
really
fantastic. It
That's
helps,
huge.
Yeah, it helps with age spots, sun damage, hyperpigmentation that happens to people with color. It basically evens out your skin tone. There's nothing harsh in it. There are no bleaches in it or anything like that. And I guess the engineering behind it is that they've been able to take these ingredients, these vitamins and minerals, and grind them to a point where it actually penetrates the skin. So when your skin starts to develop and come out anew, you have fresh, cleaner, younger skin. Wow. It's fantastic. Now, you ought to get this, and I guarantee you, you will love this product. And go ahead and get this. And if you use the promo code SKIN, if you go to nanobright.com, that's NANOBRYTE, nanobright.com, and use the promo code SKIN, you get $10 off. And so that means you will get a bottle of NanoBright for, I want to say it's $20. Something that's normally $30 will cost you $20. If you go to nanobright.com, use the promo code SKIN. It's very important to use the promo code. If you don't use the promo code, it'll be $30 for you.
SKIN.
SKIN. And I'm telling you, this stuff works. It works amazingly.
Look at your skin.
Well, look at my skin.
It's glowing, man.
Yeah, it's glowing. Don't get too close.
Bling.
So thank you to NanoBright for being our new sponsor, and thank you for the samples. I'm a believer, man. I'm gonna give Woody some. Maybe he can rub off some of his ugly.
Yeah.
So
it's hard though. It's deep.
It's deep. Okay, so back to it, guys. During this week, okay, so we had the email controversy with Hillary with the whole donor thing, which I think is sometimes the media just tries to make it a huge controversy.
Yeah, and that's not really a hot topic.
Yeah, but they're
trying.
I think they're purposely trying to seem like they're being even, so they don't be completely on Trump. But this is the funny thing about it, is that the stuff that's happening with Hillary is stupid with the email service, stuff like
it's
that.
Ridiculous.
But the stuff that's with Trump, I mean, he creates new stuff every day. He's constantly saying something
putting his foot in his
stupid
mouth
all the time. And I really do believe, well, it confuses me. 1 minute I think to myself, he really doesn't want to be the president.
I don't think he does after what he said today.
But then he'll come up and say something that makes sense again.
Oh, what do you say that makes sense?
You know, I'm trying to think about that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm tripping.
I don't think we got enough time.
Yeah, we may not. Yeah. But he'll say something in regards to trade policy. He went and spoke. Oh, I know what it was. He was in Detroit. Lord, we love Detroit. Shout out Detroit. He was in Detroit, and he was speaking about the automotive industry and trade, and how NAFTA has really not been a good deal for the American workers.
Right, which I agree.
He was speaking about the things that I may agree with him on.
Yeah.
But it's coming from this dude. So just because I agree with you on NAFTA, on a trade policy, doesn't mean that I think you should be the president of the United States.
No, not at all.
It's crazy. It's crazy, but I don't know.
And so, I mean, listen, so polls, I've never been a true, I don't sink, everything into what the polls say because, they were wrong when we reelected Obama. But I'm just hoping that America is much smarter. Well, they are, obviously. I mean, we do, because we elected Obama and reelected Obama, that folks are really looking at the issues and looking at moving the country forward. And I have to truly believe that if everyone gets out and vote for the best candidate, then we won't have an issue with Trump. He'll just fall by the wayside.
Before I go too far, I have to also bring up something else, and I'm pulling it up right now.
What is that?
Okay. So last week, thank you to everyone that came out to support the donor drive.
Oh, yes,
for the bone marrow donor.
Yes.
And
some applause for you folks.
So, and it's posted all over my Instagram. The drive for this coming weekend has been canceled, but they do have it next week. So all of our listeners on the East Coast, they're going to be in the New York area. And on the East Side location, it's going to be at the Edmund Safra Synagogue, which is on 11 East 63rd Street. And on the West Side location, that's on Tuesday, August 16th. And then on Monday, August 22nd, it's going to be at the Lincoln Square Synagogue, which is at 180 Amsterdam Avenue. And that's 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. So I'm going to go back and say that again. For my New York people, at the Safra Synagogue at 11 East 63rd Street in New York, from 4 until 10, they're going to have another donor drive. On the West Side, on Monday, August 22nd, it's going to be at the Lincoln Square Synagogue at 180 Amsterdam Avenue, 4 to 10 p.m. again. Now, this thing is quick. I think we were in and out of this entire drive within 5 to 10 minutes. All you go in to do is to do a cotton swab on your cheek and collect that, and that's it. If you are matched, then you'll be contacted at a later date. And the reason why this is so important to me is because the young man that could possibly be cured with his bone marrow transplant is someone who's very, very close to me. I'm very close to their entire family. His father is like my big brother. And so please go out and donate. And it'll help people. It'll save lives. People need this sort of help from each other from time to time.
Because even if they're not a match for him, they could be a match for someone else.
If you're not a match for Adam, which I hope you are a match for Adam, but if you're not a match for Adam, you can be a match for someone else. And this is extremely important. And his father once told me something which was so important. It's always stuck with me. He said, you got to know, Robert. He said, Ronnie, you will always have friends when everything is going great.
But when you're down.
You will find out who your real friends are.
Mm-hmm. That's the truth.
I am a real friend, and I will continue to promote this, and we're going to find a donor and a perfect match for Adam, and we're going to get him the life-saving transplant that he needs.
You're a good dude, man.
Absolutely.
Get well soon, Adam.
Yeah, get well soon. Yo, you will, man. You will. So, guys, thank you again for joining our show. We actually have a person in studio. We have little beautiful Olivia in studio.
Hi, Olivia.
Woody's daughter. Hi, Olivia. And she's been such a good girl sitting over there looking at her dad. You know, he's been watching his language like a good dad should do.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
And I've been watching mine, too.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
I know it's been tough.
Yeah, and thank you to Jarvis, our producer, and thank you to everyone who's been listening in. And we always appreciate the fact that you start off your weekend with us. We had a little disruption at the beginning of the show because I didn't have my partner in crime next to me.
Traffic is
dealing
ridiculous,
with traffic.
man.
We had some few technical difficulties, but these are all things that come along with a live broadcast. So thank you again for listening.
Thank you.
And we will see you guys next week at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern.
Yes.
Have a great weekend. Have
Enjoy
a safe
your weekend.
weekend. Signing out. Peace.
Don't drink and drive.